Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you notice things that others around you don't? You sit in a room, and while everyone else is laughing, talking, scrolling, you sense an undercurrent? You catch the tension in someone's smile, the heaviness behind their words, the silence that's louder than the conversation itself. And for a second you wonder, am I the only one seeing this? That moment can feel like both a gift and a curse. Because to see what others don't is to live with a kind of double vision, the surface world and the hidden world beneath it. And Carl Jung, the great Swiss psychiatrist, knew this tension better than anyone. He knew the danger of carrying sight that others can't or won't acknowledge. Jung once wrote that loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. And isn't that true? To see deeply is to risk alienation. It is to carry truths that may not fit neatly into small talk, into social rituals, into the casual rhythm of everyday life. But here's the paradox. The very thing that isolates you can also awaken you. Because Jung believed that the human psyche is vast, layered, and full of unseen forces. He spoke of the shadow, the part of ourselves we repress, deny, pretend isn't there. He spoke of archetypes, collective patterns that live beneath cultures and generations. He spoke of the unconscious not as some dark pit, but as a reservoir of symbols, wisdom, and danger. To see what others don't, in Jung's language, is to confront the unconscious, your own, and sometimes the collective. But let's slow down here. Why is this dangerous? Why can seeing more, sensing more, knowing more lead to suffering rather than relief? Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who dreamed every night of a river. In the dream, he stood at its edge while others played on the banks, splashing and laughing. But he could see the current beneath, the underflow dragging powerfully, invisibly. He tried to warn them, but they laughed, told him he worried too much. And night after night, he woke up restless. Because once you see the current, you can't unsee it. That dream is a metaphor for what Jung warned us about, the deep current beneath ordinary life. Most people live on the surface, comfortable with appearances, routines, and masks. But those who pierce through and see the current, see the shadow in a society, the hidden drives in individuals, the illusions in themselves, they often find themselves misunderstood. And Jung would say, this is the price of vision. To have sight that others lack is to live in a different landscape of mind. It's not always heroic. It's not always empowering. Sometimes it is lonely. Sometimes it feels unbearable. But why? Why can't people just welcome new perspectives, new insights? Why is there resistance? Jung believed that the psyche is designed to protect itself from too much truth all at once. Think of it like the eyes adjusting to light. If you walk into sunlight after hours in darkness, it burns, it blinds. Truth works the same way. When someone sees too much too quickly, they risk blinding themselves or others. That's why many societies resist change, resist new ways of seeing. They are not ready. And the one who sees early often pays the cost. Jung himself lived this reality. Early in his career, he was a close collaborator of Sigmund Freud. Together, they were pioneers peering into the unconscious when most of the world thought psychology was nonsense. But Jung saw something Freud didn't. Freud insisted that human behavior was driven mostly by repressed sexuality. Jung, however, saw wider forces, spiritual instincts, mythic patterns, archetypal energies that shaped the psyche. This disagreement fractured their friendship. Freud thought Jung was going too far, too mystical, too dangerous. But Jung could not unsee what he had seen. And so he walked alone. Imagine the weight of that. To lose your closest ally because of your vision. To be dismissed, even ridiculed for what you believe is the deeper truth. That's the danger of seeing what others don't. It can cost you your belonging. It can cost you your stability. But it doesn't stop there. Seeing what others don't can also turn inward, becoming a battle within yourself. Jung warned that the unconscious is not some gentle place of inspiration. It is powerful, wild, and at times terrifying. To open yourself to it is to invite both wisdom and chaos. He himself endured what he later called his confrontation with the unconscious, a period of visions, dreams, and inner battles that nearly overwhelmed him. Out of it came his famous red book filled with images, dialogues, and symbolic journeys. But he admitted those years nearly broke him. So again, we must ask, why pursue such sight if it comes with such danger? Why not just live on the surface like everyone else? Why risk the loneliness, the chaos, the alienation? Because, and this is where the paradox deepens, without facing the unseen, we remain half alive. Jung believed that our wholeness depends on integrating the shadow, listening to the unconscious, and seeing the deeper forces at work. To avoid it may bring comfort, but it also brings shallowness. To engage it may bring danger, but it also brings depth. Let me put it like this. Imagine walking through life with a mirror that only shows half your face. It feels safe, predictable, even flattering. But deep down, you know there's more. And when you finally pick up the full mirror, the reflection can shock you. You see not only beauty, but also fear, rage, envy, vulnerability. That is what it means to see what others don't. To look into the full mirror of the psyche. Some people will turn away, some will deny it. But those who endure, those who dare, can become whole. Still, Jung never romanticized this process. He knew that vision alone is not enough. He warned of inflation. The danger that when someone discovers deeper truths, they may believe themselves superior, chosen, prophetic. This is another danger of seeing what others don't. You risk being swallowed by your own insights, confusing them with ultimate truth. Jung said that the deeper forces of the psyche are like gods. They are vast, overwhelming, and if we identify with them, we lose ourselves. That's why humility is essential. To see more does not mean you are more. It simply means you have been called to a heavier responsibility. And here lies the tension Jung wanted us to face. How do we carry vision without arrogance? How do we hold truth without breaking under its weight? How do we see what others don't and yet remain human, grounded, connected? The answer for Jung was integration. He spoke often of individuation, the process of becoming whole, of uniting the conscious and unconscious, the light and the shadow, the personal and the collective. It's not about escaping into vision nor denying it, but weaving it into the fabric of life. To see what others don't is dangerous if you isolate yourself with it. But if you integrate it, if you embody it in small, grounded ways, it can transform you and those around you. Think of it like fire. Too much fire burns the village down. Too little fire and you sit in darkness. The challenge is to tend the flame to make it useful, to let it warm and illuminate without consuming. And maybe you felt this in your own life. That moment when you saw something in a friend that they weren't ready to admit. That moment when you recognized a truth in your family history that no one dared to name. That moment when you realized the story you'd been telling yourself all your life wasn't quite real. These are small initiations into Jung's insight. Sight is both a gift and a burden. And the danger is not only in seeing, but in carrying it wisely. So let me leave you for now with a question. If you were to open your eyes fully to see what others around you do not, would you be ready to carry that? Would you be willing to face the loneliness, the humility, the responsibility? Because that is the path Jung invites us onto. And in part 2, we'll go even deeper into the real consequences, the psychological traps, and the strange liberation that comes when we dare to see. The story doesn't end with simply noticing what others don't. Because once you see, the question becomes, what do you do with it? This is where the real danger lies. It's not just in the seeing itself, but in the choices that follow. Jung believed that when we encounter the unconscious, when we pierce through the veil of appearances, we face two equally powerful temptations. One is to turn away, to deny what we've glimpsed, to retreat back into the comfort of ordinary life. The other is to become consumed by it, to let the vision take over our identity, to live as though we are somehow set apart, chosen. Both paths can distort us. Both paths can lead to suffering. Jung warned that the unconscious is not polite. It does not whisper softly. It floods, it overwhelms, it destabilizes. That's why so many myths across cultures tell stories of heroes who descend into underworlds, caves, or forests. These aren't just stories of adventure. They're psychological maps. They show us what it feels like to encounter the unseen. To go into the depths is to risk losing your bearings, to risk being swallowed whole. And just like those heroes, not everyone comes back unchanged. Some come back fragmented. Some don't come back at all. So, what does this mean for us in our ordinary lives? Maybe you've experienced a glimpse of this danger without even realizing it. Have you ever stumbled upon a truth about yourself that was so uncomfortable you almost wished you hadn't seen it? Maybe you realized your motives weren't as pure as you thought. Maybe you saw the mask you wear in relationships. Maybe you uncovered an old wound that still shapes the way you walk through the world. These are all small encounters with the unconscious, and they remind us that sight can hurt. It can unsettle the very foundation we stand on. Jung understood this well. He believed that each of us carries a shadow, a side of ourselves we'd rather not face. It contains our fears, our weaknesses, our rejected impulses. To see it clearly is to risk shame, guilt, or despair. Yet to avoid it is even more dangerous because what we don't face in ourselves tends to spill outward, projected onto others. We condemn in them what we refuse to acknowledge in ourselves. So the danger of not seeing is just as real as the danger of seeing. Both paths carry risk, but Jung insisted that the deeper path, the path of integration, was worth it. Because in facing the shadow, we recover pieces of ourselves. We gain honesty. We stop living split lives. And in doing so, we also stop putting the weight of our denial onto others. Still, Jung was clear. This process is not easy and it is not quick. He said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." It's a sobering thought. Enlightenment is not about blissful visions. It's about honesty, about courage, about the willingness to look at what is hard to face. That's the true danger and the true gift of sight. Let me share another image with you. Imagine standing in a room full of mirrors, but each mirror shows a slightly different version of you. One is the version your parents see. One is the version your friends see. One is the version you present at work. And then hidden in the corner is a cracked mirror that shows a face you don't quite recognize, but you know it's yours. That cracked mirror is the shadow. To look into it is unsettling, but it's also necessary because only by seeing all the mirrors can you begin to piece together the whole of who you are. This is why Jung believed individuation, the journey to wholeness, was life's deepest task. To individuate is to see not just what others don't, but what you yourself have been unwilling to see. It's to gather the fragments, the contradictions, the opposites, and hold them within your psyche. Not perfect, not pure, but whole. And this wholeness, Jung said, brings a kind of quiet strength. Not the strength of control, but the strength of authenticity. But here's the twist. Even if you embark on this journey and begin to integrate what others cannot see, you may still feel alone because society often rewards conformity, not depth. Jung himself lived through this tension. He was respected, yes, but also criticized, misunderstood, even dismissed as mystical or unscientific. He carried sight that his own era was not ready to accept. And in a way, that's the fate of anyone who dares to see differently. Think about it. Throughout history, the figures who saw beyond the surface, visionaries, artists, philosophers, were often outcasts in their own time. Their insights only became clear to later generations. This is both the danger and the strange beauty of seeing what others don't. You may walk a lonely path, but you also become a bridge between worlds, the world of the ordinary and the world of the unseen. But this brings us to another danger, alienation. To see what others don't can tempt you to separate yourself, to live as if you're fundamentally different, and that can harden into isolation. Jung warned against this too. He said that vision must always be balanced with humility, with the simple human act of living among others, of working, of loving, of engaging in ordinary life. Without that, vision becomes distortion. The mystic loses touch. The thinker loses compassion. The seer becomes trapped in their own revelations. So what's the way forward? If you see what others don't, how do you live without drowning in loneliness or arrogance? Jung's answer was deceptively simple. You live it quietly. You embody it. You don't need to shout about what you see. You don't need to force it on others. You let it shape how you move, how you treat people, how you create, how you respond to life. The truth Jung believed doesn't need defending. It needs living. And maybe this is where you and I can take something tangible. Perhaps you've seen things in your own life that others ignore. Patterns in your family, flaws in your culture, depths in yourself. There's one more layer to this, though. Jung didn't just talk about the individual psyche. He also spoke of the collective unconscious. This is the idea that beneath all our personal lives runs a deeper layer of shared symbols, myths, and archetypes. And sometimes when you see what others don't, you're actually tapping into this collective layer. You're glimpsing something that isn't just about you, but about humanity as a whole. That can feel overwhelming, like carrying the weight of a truth larger than yourself. But Jung believed that this is precisely why we need community, art, and dialogue. These are ways of sharing the weight, of giving form to what we see so that it doesn't consume us. So maybe the real danger is not in seeing, but in trying to carry sight alone. Maybe the task is to find language, symbols, or practices that allow what you've seen to be held, expressed, and shared, even if only with a few trusted people. That way, the vision becomes medicine instead of poison. And so, we return to the paradox to see what others don't is both dangerous and necessary. It isolates, but it also awakens. It wounds, but it also heals. It burdens, but it also transforms. Jung's life itself was a living testimony to this paradox. He bore the weight of his visions, but he also gave us language, tools, and concepts that continue to help millions of people navigate their own depths. Perhaps that's the final lesson here. To see what others don't is not about being special. It's about being responsible. Responsible to yourself, to your growth, to your relationships, to the world around you. The danger is real, but so is the possibility. And so, we arrive at the final quiet crossroads of this understanding. The place where insight must meet action, where vision must be translated into the humble, daily substance of a life. And maybe that is precisely where I will leave you. Not with a grand conclusion, but with this intimate and enduring reflection. A mirror held up not just to your mind, but to the very choices that will shape your path forward. If you have been given this gift, or perhaps you have come to recognize it as the unique burden of sight, this capacity to perceive the currents others miss, to feel the weight of the unspoken, to see the shadows dancing on the wall while everyone else admires the fire, then the imperative is not to build a fortress around your perception, but to carry it with a profound and grounding humility. This humility is not a denial of what you see. It is the necessary container for it, the vessel that prevents the sacred waters of insight from spilling into the arid sands of arrogance or evaporating into the lonely atmosphere of isolation. Use this sight not as a wedge to separate yourself, not as evidence of your singularity that inevitably creates a chasm between you and the world, but rather as a delicate, powerful instrument to connect more deeply, more authentically, more compassionately with the very humanity you now perceive with such startling clarity. For what is the ultimate value of seeing the hidden pain in a friend's eyes if it does not lead you to sit with them in a more patient and understanding silence? What is the purpose of sensing the collective anxiety thrumming beneath the surface of a society if it does not inspire you to act with greater kindness in your small corner of it? The vision is meaningless if it does not, in the end, deepen your capacity for relationship, with yourself, with others, and with the complex, beautiful, and often broken world. Remember the model offered by the man who charted these very depths. Remember that even Carl Jung, with all his vast and staggering vision, who navigated the tumultuous seas of the collective unconscious and returned with maps of the human soul, remained fundamentally a man who gardened. He felt the simple, grounding soil under his nails, tended to living things that asked for no complex theories, only water and sun. He was a man who painted. giving form to the formless in colorful, spontaneous expressions, and who sat with patience in simple human conversation, listening not as a sage to an acolyte, but as one soul to another. His sight did not remove him from life. It did not grant him an excuse to float above the mundane. On the contrary, it deepened his presence within it. It made his engagement with the ordinary world more rich, more resonant, more real. The ultimate integration is not to live in the unconscious, but to bring its treasures back to the shore of everyday existence. And so, the questions now fall to you, not as a theoretical exercise, but as the most practical and pressing inquiry of your life. You must ask yourself, with unflinching honesty, what are the specific, particular things that you see that others around you do not? What silent truths in your family's history hum in your ears? What unacknowledged potentials in your colleagues do you perceive? What shadows within your own heart have you glimpsed that you've been too afraid to name? And then, the more critical question, what will you do with this sight? How will you channel this awareness? Will you allow it to isolate you, to become a story you tell yourself about your own loneliness and misunderstanding, building walls where there could be bridges? Will you let it inflate you, seducing you into a sense of spiritual superiority, where your insights become a weapon to judge others who are asleep, thereby severing the very connections you crave? Or will you let it guide you, patiently and courageously, toward becoming more whole? Will you use it as a compass pointing you toward the difficult but vital work of embracing your own shadow, acknowledging your own contradictions, and integrating the fragmented parts of your being into a more complete and authentic self? The choice, in every moment, is yours and yours alone. It is the quiet, relentless choosing that defines a life. This is the path, winding, often unclear, with no guaranteed destination. It is the danger, real, palpable, with the capacity to unravel you or to forge you into something stronger and more resilient. And that, perhaps, after all the struggle and the solitude, is also the profound and priceless gift. It is the gift of a life lived consciously, of a perception sharpened to the wonders and the wounds of existence, and of the opportunity to turn your unique sight into an act of profound, humble, and deeply connected human love.